let's go ahead and get those mics up for you guys. We're going to introduce our great musical guests. So we have on the couch Matt Collier, and you are from the band WitchTrot.
Yes.
And is that, by the way, is it one word or two? I can't figure out online if it's one word or two.
Depends on the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one word.
It is one word. Okay.
Yeah.
But is the second syllable also capitalized?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I got it right then in the Facebook post I made earlier.
You did.
That's good. That's good. So we have Matt Collier is here and Edward McPherson. Am I saying the last name correctly?
That is how it's pronounced. I'm very impressed that you got it right the first time, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, me too.
What do people usually say, McPherson?
They usually say McPherson. As far as I understand it, I think McPherson is the Irish way and McPherson is the Scottish way.
Oh.
I think that's it.
So you're Scottish, or of Scottish descent.
Yeah, sort of.
And Scottish people get upset if you say things the Irish way, right? And assume it's the same, because it's not the same. You're different.
At that point, you're in over my head.
See, I'm Irish, so I understand these things. But by the way, you guys are getting some love in the Facebook live chat already. Let's see. We have Adam Jocelyn from Able Blood. We were talking about Able Blood off air a little bit. He says, hello, Matt C. and hello, WitchTrot. What's up, fellas? And Isaac Banks in the chat room says, WitchTrot rocks.
All right.
Yeah. And I thought there was another.
First I've heard of it.
Oh, and Malcolm Sauls says, says WitchTrot rules. Let's see. I think there might be some other people in here too. It's a very, very busy chat room, which we love to see. And now, if you're watching online, you can see that Matt has an acoustic guitar with him. So we're going to hear some music. Matt's going to play something for us from the band. And we have a brand new, and I think it'll be the world radio premiere, right, of this newly remastered song that we're going to play in a little bit.
Yes.
Very nice. We like the world radio premieres around here. Very, very good. But should we go ahead and have you play? I'm dying to hear you play. But before we do that, can you tell us what it is that you're going to play? Is this a WitchTrot song or a solo thing, or what have you got for us?
Yeah, this is a WitchTrot song. It's one of the ones we recorded at Alpha Mako Studio. We just got it mastered. So this will be the first time anyone would be hearing it.
Really?
And, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, yeah, if you want to, now what is this called?
Parallax.
Parallax. Okay. All right. Yeah. If you're ready, Matt, I'm dying to hear you play.
Mourn the absence of all your restless peaks to the place of aimless wanderings, scrounging up what I'm indifferent to, motivated by survival. I never want to miss this remembrance. Could you just leave me alone? And I'll play some melody. Why should I tie all of these vacancies to give a fair new life, taking the shape of limitless plight? I'll fly to run slow. Sound of push and pull, the pampering of affection glistens through. Worried about recluse, I'll carry the fire in the road so I can fly a kite through. Humanity was our business, taking turns for a witness to catch a mantis to glean or grin. I never wanna shrug this tenderness, but could you breach through my bones? I'll play back this melody and climb new heights away from this melody. Oh, let's give it a try. Bring forth the symphony or cherish its bite. fly to run slow. A fly to run slow. A fly to run slow. A fly to run slow. I betrayed some for you today. And I play some for melody. Why should I tie all of these vacancies, or let's give him a try. Bring forth the melody or cherish its bite. Fly to run slow.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Adam Jocelyn in the chat room, of course, from Able Blood says, such a unique voice. You do have a unique voice. Your vocal delivery is very raw, but I like it.
Thank you.
I mean, is there anyone who inspires you vocally that you kind of try to sound like, or who has influenced the way that you sing? Because it is unique.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of the grunge 90s music, like Kurt Cobain, Gavin Rossdale. Yeah. Pete Hamilton from Helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my vocal influences.
Yeah, very cool. Now the two of you, are the two of you WitchTrot, or are there other members? Because I know I saw at least one video online, a live video, where it was just the two of you.
Yeah, right now it's the two of us. We've had my girlfriend and Ed's sister Megan fill in on bass for us for some shows.
From Wired for Sound.
Wired for Sound, yeah.
Yep. Great band.
Exactly.
Great band, yeah.
So, but for right now, like just the two of us.
Now how long have the two of you been in this band? Like, are you both original members of WitchTrot?
No, but I've been in the band for about 4 years now.
Oh, okay. So,
but no, Matt's had this thing going since he was 16 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how did the two of you meet and come to work together?
It was through the Stone Church.
Yeah, it was through a mutual acquaintance, the guitarist of a band I was formerly in called Marvel Prone.
Oh, Marvel Prone. Wait a minute. Have you been here before?
I have not.
You have not. They have.
I left that band a year-ish ago.
Okay. So I'm like, because you said that, I'm like, wait a minute, have we met before? No, it's funny how the scene. It's like this. It's so many people move around in different bands. Okay, so you were in Marvel Prone. Interesting.
I was in Marvel Prone, and I believe Rainer, the band leader of Marvel Prone, and Matt met each other at the Stone Church sometime, and Matt mentioned that he needed a drummer, so Rainer put us in contact with each other.
Oh, cool. And then so now what about, so you had a bass player. Did you have a regular bass player before Megan, or
yes.
for a while?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how long were they in the band?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So now, but you guys do some shows where it's just the two of you if Megan's not available, or how does that work?
I think we have done that before, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure, like I said, I saw a YouTube video where it's just the two of you, and I think whoever posted it put in the description something about even without a bass player, these guys rock or something, or maybe it was one of the comments in the video. But
I feel like that happened once. It's kind of, I feel like you could say playing with a bass player is best practice.
Yeah.
But I think once in a pinch we did do it just the two of us.
Yeah. I mean, there's others that have done it and made it work, but yeah, there's nothing quite like having, you want to have that bottom end if you if you can, like I saw Local H once in Boston years ago, and but it's obvious, it was just the two guys, but it was obvious that I can't remember his name for the life of me, the guitar player, that he had an effect that gave him extra bottom end, and I've seen bands do that, not very many, but now, so how long has the band been around total? Because you said you've been doing it for, but was there another drummer before Edward?
Yeah, there were some other projects, a little different from WitchTrot that I had started up, but WitchTrot was fairly new when Ed joined.
Okay.
Maybe 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had, it was pretty much similar genres, but just different band names. But I separate WitchTrot from that.
Yeah.
Just, it's different.
Yeah. Fredo is in the Facebook live chat. Yeah, I was going to say, you guys must know Fredo. Everybody knows Fredo. Or I do enjoy.
Dank Sinatra's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Fredo's been on the show a number of times. I do enjoy saying his full name when I see him in the chat room. Alfredo Enrique Benavides. But yeah, Dank Sinatra, Cosmic Blossom, great stuff. And he posts a lot of solo videos too. That it's just such a enormously talented guy. Really good on the show too. We got to get him back on. Yeah, Rhonda Favero, when I was asking you about your vocal style, Rhonda from our friend from California, she said kind of reminds her of Nirvana. So that makes sense. Yeah. Are you self-taught vocally, or what about on guitar? You ever take lessons, or are you self-taught?
I haven't taken lessons. Yeah, I was self-taught.
Wow.
Yeah.
That always impresses me. How about you, Edward, on the drums?
I had drum lessons for like 2 years. Like the first year I played, and then I went a few years without.
Yeah.
Then I took lessons for another year. I've been playing for like 11 years, so I had lessons for 2 of them.
Okay.
I like to think I'm pretty good at self-teaching.
Yeah.
Like actually working on things and not just screwing around.
Right. That's good. And are you in any other bands? Because most drummers I meet are in like 10 different bands because there's just not a lot of drummers around.
I've been there, homie.
Yeah.
I'm currently in one other band, a metalcore band from Newmarket called Proelium. Actually, the guitarist of Proelium, a dude named Darius, was the drummer of WitchTrot before I was.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's the music scene. It's like incestuous in a way.
Yeah.
But not in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we are in the Northeast after all. So, yeah. So that's interesting. So the reason I say that is the reason I ask that is there's just been a trend where like I have these bands on and everybody's drummer is in like multiple bands. And I have a theory about that. I think it's because when you're growing up and you first start getting interested in playing a musical instrument, and you have to kind of have the talk with your parents, like, hey, I want to take up an instrument. If you express an interest in the drums, your parents are probably going to try to talk you out of that and say, well, how about guitar or something? Something where you're not going to be making a lot of noise. What that ends up happening is you end up with just not a lot of drummers around because, parents don't want their kids growing up playing drums and making all that noise. That's my theory anyway. And bass players tend to be in high demand too, but I think drummers especially.
Yeah, I think your theory is pretty spot on for drummers. I think for bass players, it's just because everybody wants to play guitar.
Guitarists get the glory. Yeah.
Most bands have a guitarist playing bass, really.
Right. Well, it's funny because I'm a bass player, but I started out on guitar when I was a kid. I took guitar lessons and never took a bass lesson, but I took guitar lessons. But unfortunately, I was one of those kind of lazy kids that if I wasn't good at something really fast, I would get discouraged. And so I was getting discouraged with the guitar and I wasn't putting the work in to really practice it. And then when I was in high school, I picked up a bass, just hanging out with some friends playing music. And bass players hate when I say this, but it's just the reality of it. I picked up a bass and I said, 2 fewer strings and I don't have to learn any chords. I think I found my instrument. But it worked out. I went on to, I played in a bunch of bands and so I did find my instrument, but it kind of sucks that it happened the way that it did because it was out of my own laziness. But it's true though. And bass players hate when I say that because it makes it sound like, the bass is easy. And to play, it's not easy to play the bass really well, but if you just want to be, I always say I was never good, but I was always good enough. And bass players being in not as high demand as drummers, but in sort of high demand, you end up playing, you can be just okay and end up in a bunch. I was in a bunch of different bands at once actually. But yeah, drummers, I meet so many drummers who are just in tons of bands. So maybe we should talk about this more after we play the single, but I don't want to forget to ask you this. In terms of influences, Edward, when I was listening to the, because Matt sent me the single earlier that we're going to play in a couple of minutes. Well, first of all, overall, I got kind of a Sabbath vibe from it. And I definitely got a Bill Ward vibe from your drumming. And I'm curious, is he an influence of yours, or?
That's an interesting question. I think
your fills, your drum fills remind me a lot of Bill Ward, and he's one of my favorites. So it's please take it as a compliment.
Oh, I absolutely do. I love Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
always have. I don't consider Bill Ward specifically an influence, but I do consider that kind of music and Black Sabbath's contemporaries to be a great influence.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what are tell me about who are some of your influences?
Really, I'm just a sucker for all of the great prog rock drummers.
Yeah,
Neil Peart, Phil Collins. Those are probably the biggest two. Who else? My head always goes blank when people ask me things like that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. It kind of puts you on the spot. Phil Collins is a surprise to me, though, because I don't know. I never really hear anyone say. Is Phil Collins? I know this is kind of an ongoing debate that I've seen online in some forums. Is Phil Collins a great drummer in your opinion?
Phil Collins is the man.
No kidding.
But you have to listen to the early Genesis albums to figure it out. He also has other bands. He has like a jazz fusion band that I haven't listened to much from.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you like Bill Ward, you would probably dig Phil Collins' drumming on the early Genesis albums, because that is a very similar, loose, jazzy, feely style, if you know what I mean. It's not rigid at all. He's very much just like sinking into the music.
See, that surprises me, because I guess the more commercial Genesis stuff that came out later, I feel like his drumming is very rigid. But I have heard some early Genesis with when Peter Gabriel was singing, and now that you mention it, his drumming was different. I know what you mean. Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to some of that. Yeah, you're getting some support on that in the chat room.
Right.
DJ Midas says Phil Collins is a phenomenal drummer. Malcolm Sauls says any Genesis album he wasn't allowed to sing on was incredible. That's a great way of putting it. Although I love Phil's voice. I think Phil's got a great voice, but I understand what he means, because that makes sense if you're talking about the earlier stuff before Phil took over on vocals. And Fredo says Brand X. Actually, let me read these in order. Fredo said Phil Collins was a masterful drummer. Check out his fusion band Brand X. Brand X is Phil Collins displaying his jazz prowess and crazy prog chops. Interesting. Oh, and Malcolm had said earlier, Phil Collins and early Genesis is some of the best prog you will ever hear.
Damn right.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to go back and give that another listen. Okay. Yeah, it's coincidentally several months ago I happened to hear, I cannot even remember what album it's on. It was on one of their really commercially successful albums, Genesis, with Phil on lead vocals. But the song is Domino. Do you know that song?
I do not know that song.
Yeah, it's from their really commercial period, but I just remember listening to that song, and I'm listening to the drum track, and I'm thinking, this song would be so much better if the drums weren't so, it sounded like programmed drums. I don't know if it was actually him playing or if it was all programmed, but I remember thinking this song would be so cool if it was Phil Collins without drumming, without all the effects and everything. But it was like the mid 1980s. I lived through it. Everything was very sort of overproduced in that way. But I'll have to go back and listen to some early Phil Collins, or some more early Genesis. And I'll have to check out Brand X. I didn't even know about Brand X. So that must have been the band he was in before Genesis, maybe?
I don't really know. There might have been some overlap.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious now. Now, how about you, Matt, in terms of influences? I mean, we talked a little bit about your vocals, but how about guitar or just the overall vibe? Like I said, I get a heavy Sabbath vibe from WitchTrot.
Yeah, I really like the Melvins.
I can hear it. Yeah,
I like Houdini. That's probably my favorite from them. Stoner, which is another one. I really like, of course, Nirvana In Utero is one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
And I love Black Sabbath as well. Sleep is a cool band, Electric Wizard, a lot of that doomy type rock, and as well as the grunge stuff I've always been a fan of.
Yeah. Fredo in the chat room says regarding Phil Collins, he didn't need to give us his all on the Tarzan soundtrack, but he did. Yeah, when the Tarzan soundtrack, I remember when that came out, and I remember kind of thinking, yeah, he's definitely entered his. He's moved from his rock phase to his adult contemporary phase. Actually, he had probably done that long before that, but yeah, I understand. He can't even really. It's hard for him to stand up now, Phil Collins. Like you see any videos from that last from the Genesis farewell tour? It's kind of heartbreaking. You feel bad for him, you know.
Although miraculously, his voice still sounds pretty good.
Oh, his voice is great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just a poor guy. He can't. It's hard for him to move around, and but drums is such a physical instrument too that if there's anything you're going to get injured playing, it's that, I suppose. Well, we should get to this track since we've been talking about how you guys sound. Now, again, is this Nomos Tomas? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what does that mean?
No more Thomas. So I have a friend named Thomas, and he's
I can tell this will be a good story by Edward's reaction.
Well, he's very unpredictable, and like he always does very like wild things. Like he's younger than me, so I've always kind of been like, I've acted like the older brother in some ways. So I'm always like, Thomas, no, don't do that. Especially in public, or he's going to watch this and be like, what?
Right.
You shouldn't have said that. But, that's why I called it No More Thomas. And I've told him that, and he thinks it's pretty cool.
That's cool. I thought maybe it was Latin or something when I first saw it. Very cool. All right, let's give this a listen. Where was this recorded, by the way?
Alpha Omega Studios.
And where is that?
That's in Massachusetts.
Some town in Massachusetts I've never heard of before.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's give this a listen, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more with these guys. Check this out. This is WitchTrot. This is brand new, newly remastered, and world radio premiere. that is so good. Nomas Tomas. Am I saying that right, Matt?
No mas,
Tomas, yes. From the band WitchTrot, and we have Matt and Edward from the band here with us live in studio. That is the world radio premiere of that track, and I love it. You know what's cool is it kind of, the song fools you. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's made this observation, but when I was listening to it for the first time, I was like, oh, it's an instrumental. And then the vocal finally shows up, but it's so far into the song that it's like a cool surprise when the vocal comes in. I was like, oh, it's not an instrumental. I like that. Like, did you do that intentionally, or is that just kind of how the song developed?
That was actually done intentionally, yeah. A lot of the stoner rock doomy stuff, band Sleep does that a lot. They'll have a lot of instrumentals, and then they'll sing, and then they'll stop and do a lot of long instrumentals, and then continue back into singing. Yeah.
No, I like that. It's cool. It's kind of a cool twist. Fredo in the chat room says long intro. Fredo also said too earlier, the Melvins came up as an influence, and Fredo said Melvins are one of the most influential badass bands ever. They did more for grunge, sludge, and underground music in general than any of their contemporaries. Yeah, definitely the Melvins, very, very influential, but kind of unsung heroes. And they're one of those bands that musicians know the Melvins, but non-musicians never even heard of them.
No,
it's one of those kinds of bands. So we've got the guys here from WitchTrot. By the way, so where does the name come from, WitchTrot? I assume you came up with that, Matt, because you're the founding member.
Yeah. Well, there's several WitchTrot roads in Maine.
I noticed that. I noticed that when I Googled you guys, and I was like, oh, this is a common thing in Maine.
Yeah. And, well, the name came about was Maine was part of Massachusetts during the Salem witch trials.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought down a preacher or parson from Maine. And the road was called WitchTrot Road, that was trotting down witches on horseback.
Okay.
They would commonly do that. And picked that name because it signified like judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And it symbolized the road to judgment when those witches were crossing over.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, it's a cool name. Now, how many songs have you? Is this the only? Is this the first song that you've done in that studio in North Reading, or do you have others that you're working on? Or
we would like to go back soon. We have two other ones. I played Parallax was one of them, and I played the acoustic version of that. And then we have a song called Hello Dimitri that's also was recorded at Alpha Omega.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna release those hopefully tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear Hello Dimitri. So at some point this weekend that'll be available.
Yes.
Online. Very cool. Very cool. And what's the writing process like? Do you guys write together, or do you come up with the ideas initially and then bring them to Edward, or how does that work?
It's sort of they always originate with Matt. I like to consider myself a valuable part of the band, but it's always been Matt's songs that we're playing.
Yeah.
He sometimes comes at me or me and whoever former bassist was in the band at the time with a completed idea, but usually it's just like, an intro, a verse, and a chorus, and we jam on it for a while. Someone might make a few suggestions.
Yeah.
They come together very organically, and as a consequence, somewhat inefficiently sometimes. It kind of takes a while for them to reach their final form.
Really? Yeah. Like how long? Like to develop a song? Does it take days, weeks?
A couple practices.
Yeah. Practices.
Yeah. Because Edward, what you're doing on the drums, that winds up becoming, even if the idea doesn't start with you, I mean, you are really kind of contributing to how the song forms because your drum patterns are complex, and it's not like you're not the guy from AC/DC sitting over there. You're actually not nothing against AC/DC, but you're really you're really helping to form and shape that song with what you're doing on the drums.
Yeah. So
I
steer them, you could say.
Yeah.
At times, sometimes it's something as simple as like a bro, what if we like did this?
Right.
But Ed's being humble, but like for especially No Mas Tomas, that song, the breakdown at the end, that wouldn't have happened, without the drums. The drums carry like all the songs.
Yeah.
And it's just, I have a rough draft really, and then it forms into something that I wouldn't have expected. So,
Right.
yeah.
Now in studio, who's playing bass in studio? Are you doing that yourself, or is Megan doing that, or who's?
Our friend Tony Woodman played bass on that. I actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has a band, Black Headdress. I drummed for that band, and he helped us out a lot.
See, now that's a twist on this whole drummer thing. So there's this other band that you play drums in.
Yeah.
See? What's your first instrument? Is drums your first instrument, or is it guitar?
It was drums was the first thing I learned, and then
okay.
I gradually went to guitar, and I've been playing that. That's kind of like my main instrument.
Oh, I
I'd
gotcha.
say.
I gotcha. A Black Headdress. That's the other band.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool name. Oh, from around here, is everybody from around here?
Yeah. They're Tony's from Sanford, and then Josh is he's the guitarist in the band. He's from Alfred, and then so it's kind of all over the place.
Alfred, where's that?
It's in New Hampshire. Or no, sorry, Maine. It's in Maine.
Oh, it's in Maine?
Yeah.
And I know Sanford's in Maine.
Yes. Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because that's where I almost drowned when I was a kid.
That's not fun.
Not good.
My dad had to save me. So Sanford, Maine is forever etched in my brain. So you live here now, but you're from Maine originally? Is that?
Yeah, York, Maine. Yeah.
You're from York. Okay. That's a nice area.
Yeah.
Now, how about you, Edward? Do you live in the area here, or do you have a commute?
I live in Rochester currently.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Portsmouth. That's where I was living when I joined the band.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you guys got a little bit of a commute between you.
Yeah. It's half an hour. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. Yeah. Now, are you playing a lot of shows? Do you play a lot of shows, or are you focused on recording? Or
We have a couple shows coming up. We have a house party on the 28th, and then we're playing at the Stone Church on Halloween.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, we're playing with Proelium. They're headlining. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be Proelium headlining, WitchTrot before them, and then a band called Green Eye before WitchTrot.
Yeah.
And does one of you play drums in Green Eye?
No, we've reached the limit.
Okay. Understood.
Speaking of drums, I wanted to mention something.
Yeah.
A lot of the older WitchTrot songs, like from when I first joined the band, I actually learned from demos that Matt posted on YouTube. Again, when he was like 17 or so.
Oh, no kidding.
And on all those demos, he's playing drums.
Oh, wow.
So the way I play drums in the band was influenced by what Matt played.
Oh,
way back in the day.
Oh, interesting.
So it's sort of like it comes full circle.
Yeah. So you committed to learning, but do you play the parts now the same as when Matt put them in those demos originally? Or do you even still play those songs? Because obviously those songs go back a ways. Some
of them we do. It depends on the song. Sometimes I liked what he played, and I would more or less stick to that. And if anything changed, it would again change like subconsciously and organically over time.
Yeah.
Other things, it was more of a like, hey, I have an idea for how else this could be done.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
But I definitely think even if the parts themselves have changed, the way Matt plays drums influenced how I choose to play drums in the band now.
Okay. Interesting. So are your styles now today on drums somewhat different then, or are they similar?
Very much so. We're completely different drummers.
Really? Yeah. In what way? I mean, because I kind of have a vibe of how you play, obviously, from listening to that track. But how are your drums different, Matt? If it's something you can put into words, maybe it's not the easiest thing to verbalize, but I'm curious now.
Well, with Black Headdress, a lot of the songs are kind of tribal, like
Okay.
a lot of toms. It's pretty heavy on that, rather than a lot of crashes or fills, or it's just kind of sets the tone for, because I follow, like with Black Headdress, I follow Tony and Josh quite a bit. I just go back and forth, and they're really the ones who are setting up the structure, and I'm it's just kind of tribal. Like, I mean, that's kind of how the songs felt.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I was actually just looking up Black Headdress online, and maybe to end the show we'll play. Do these have swears in them?
Honestly, it depends on the song.
Like Disconnected, that shows up on the website. Do you know? If you don't know, we just won't risk it. But I was just thinking if you did know, we could play something, because I'm curious to hear it now. But if not, I'll just wait till later, and we won't risk it.
I can't remember, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's all good. By the way, Melanie in the chat room says high five for not being a part of Massachusetts anymore.
Amen, brother.
Now, have you guys obviously you play shows around here? Have you toured anywhere outside of the area?
No, we've never been on tour.
Okay.
No. We've played Mass a little bit, New Hampshire a little bit, Maine a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are there any other bands in the area that you kind of team up with? You know, I mean, it tends to happen organically, kind of by accident. You know, bands will have other bands that they wind up playing a lot of shows with. Do you have anybody in the area like that?
Oh yeah.
Well, Wired for Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wired for Sound.
Played with Marvel Prone a few times back when I was in that band. Played a few shows with Proelium. We're about to play another show with Proelium.
Yeah.
Who else? Who are like some of the Charlie's Hill bands?
We played with Sauce on the Side. I was one.
Oh, we had them on the show. Yeah.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Able Blood, of course.
Able Blood, love Able Blood. We had them on the show.
We have
just recently.
Sophisticated Adult, Martial Law. There's a lot of. I found that in the more of the Seacoast area, there's a lot of more metal type bands, hard rock band, like metalcore type bands. So we kind of get placed in those types of shows, which is a lot of fun, a lot of mosh pits and whatnot.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So this weekend is a Stone Church. Is that this weekend or next weekend?
That's Halloween night.
Oh, Halloween night. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's really good. I haven't been to the Stone Church in forever, but that's a really nice. That's a nice place to play.
They're actually not normally open on Tuesdays, but Halloween is a Tuesday this year.
Yeah,
and so they figured they'd throw a little shindig. It's going to be a full-on costume party.
Yeah,
3 bands, good fun.
Very cool.
If anyone's interested, WitchTrot, Proelium, and Green Eye, not in that order.
Yeah,
at the Stone Church. Yeah. Halloween night, come in costume, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, listen, we're going to. We have a call. Oh, looks like this is Malcolm Sauls, who we saw in the Facebook live chat. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hey, Matt, it's Malcolm from Able Blood.
Hey, Malcolm.
Oh, that Malcolm. Hey. What's up, man?
I just want to chime in here and tell you that these guys are they're like having a reaction video at your show, because every show we play with them, we always like to watch people milling about before they start.
Yeah.
And as soon as they start playing, everything stops and everybody's like, holy crap, who are these guys?
I believe it. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, they make a lot of noise for a 3-piece technically, right? When you've got a bass player with you, but yeah, that's cool. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Malcolm.
I was going to say they can reach out to Adam and I, because we have bass issues too, so we're splitting bass duty now.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We have a thing.
That's right. We talked about that when you guys were here. I forgot about that. You're one of the bands I was thinking of earlier when we were talking about the bass thing. Yeah, that's funny.
That's why I called, just to remind you.
Yeah. Hey, I still play. Maybe I'll play it at the end of the show today. I won't have time to play the whole thing, but Mental Note, man, that always goes over big when I play that on the show. People go crazy for that in the chat room.
Awesome. So glad to hear. So glad to hear. But I gotta run because I have my daughter with me. Say hi to WitchTrot.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Can't wait to do a show again soon.
All right, Malcolm. Thank you for the call, my friend. Take care.
You bet, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, Malcolm from Able Blood. Very cool. Very cool. Such a great band. Well, listen, guys, we got to wrap up in a moment. Where should people go online? What's the best way to go online to find you guys? Just Google, because if you Google WitchTrot, I guess WitchTrot band, right? Because otherwise all those roads come up in Maine.
Yeah. Yeah. On YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Soon, every streaming platform that matters.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yes, and the new single comes out this weekend. What's it called again?
Yes, Parallax.
Okay.
Yeah, and then followed by shortly Nomos Tomas and Hello Dimitri.
Very cool. Oh, right. Hello, Dimitri. That was the other one. Yeah. And thank you for playing live for us. That was phenomenal,
Thank
Matt.
you.
All right. Matt and Edward, thank you guys so much. WitchTrot, and good luck with the Halloween show. That's amazing. Good for you guys. And I really appreciate your coming in today. Malcolm, if you're still listening, here's a little bit of Able Blood for you. Mental note.